Hello everyone and welcome back to Vim Essentials. In this lesson we're going to look at basic editing commands within the Vim editor. So let's go ahead and take a look at the material. Okay, we're going to look at 4 different groups of basic editing commands. We're going to look at how you can insert text into the Vim editor. Then after you have some text, how you can delete. And you can have a lot of different options around deleting, not just one character at a time, and we're going to take a look at that. How you can copy and paste text within the Vim editor, and finally we're going to take a brief look at undo and redo. So let's take a look at the details of each one of these groups of commands. First, we're going to take a look at inserting text. So to enter insert mode, begin inserting text at the cursor, press the I key. So remember, you're moving between different modes inside the Vim editor, and we're going to take a look at how you do that in detail on the screen in just a few minutes. So to enter insert mode, begin inserting text at the beginning of the cursor line, press the capital I key. To enter insert mode and beginning inserting text at the end of the line, you press the capital A key, and that's for append. To insert cursor after the text after the cursor position, press the lowercase a key. To insert text on a new line below the cursor position, press the lowercase o key. To insert text on a new line above the cursor position, press the uppercase O key. So this might be a little bit confusing right now, but we'll run through the commands, we'll frame up this discussion, and then it'll all be much clearer when we go through the demonstration. So let's go ahead and go to our next group of commands. Next, we're going to look at deleting text. To delete a single character at the cursor position, you press the lowercase x key. To delete the current line, press the DD key. So D, you're going to press that key twice, and we'll demonstrate that in our demo upcoming. And to delete a word, place the cursor on the word and press the DW key. So if you want to delete the entire line, DD, delete a single word, DW. To delete from the cursor position to the end of the current line, press D followed by $. And to delete from the cursor position to the beginning of the line, press D0. So Vim is really designed to have all these keyboard shortcuts so that you don't have to use the mouse, you don't have to move your hands around, and you can get very efficient with it. But you do have to get some practice with that, and we're going to get that upcoming here in our lab. So let's go ahead and look at our next group of commands. Another very common function using an editor is to copy and paste text. So to copy a single character, place the cursor, character, and then press the Y key. To copy the current line, press the Y key twice. To copy from the cursor position to the end of the current line, press the $Y key. And to paste the copied text after the cursor position, simply press the P key. Again, these are detailed steps, and it'll become much clearer when you do the lab, and I'll do the lab as part of our demonstration here so that you can get used to these commands. The next set of commands we're going to look at is undo and redo. To undo the previous action, press the lowercase u key. To redo the previous action, press the Control R key. So that's a pretty simple set. So let's go ahead and look at our demonstration. We're going to run through all of those groups here of the basic editing commands and give you an idea how to do it hands-on. And then in the next lesson will be the text for the lab itself, and we'll point you to the lab, and you can go ahead and do that lab online and reinforce the hands-on learning that you really need to do to practice to get used to using the Vim editor. So let's go ahead and look at our demonstration. Okay, I've gone ahead and navigated to labs.destinlearning.com, and I've navigated to our first Vim lab, which is basic navigation in the Vim editor. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll on down, and we're going to look at step 1, which is building our test data file. So let's go ahead and do that. Step 1 is to launch the Vim editor. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a file name here. We'll call it test.dat. And once again, I'm going to hit the I key to go into insert mode, and notice how the mode changes at the bottom of the file. And I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste our sample data to put in here. So I hate to type, so this is a quick way to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the escape key on step 4 to exit the insert mode and return to normal mode. And you can see now I'm out of insert mode. And I'm going to save the file by typing W for write. And you can see now that test.dat is written. So let's go ahead and move on to step 2. Okay, now in step 2, we're going to test in moving the cursor around. So if we use the H, J, K, and L keys, we can move around. We can also use the arrow keys as well. So let's go ahead, and I'll move over to get focus in my editor here. So I'll click over here. I'm going to use the up arrow key and the left arrow key, the right arrow key, and the down arrow key. But I can also use H to move the cursor left, J to move the cursor down, K to move the cursor up, and L to move the cursor to the right. So H, J, K, and L, you can also use, or you can use the arrow keys as well. So whatever is most convenient for you. If you're a hands-on typist and you get used to those movements with the H, J, K, and L key, it can be very convenient to do that. So that's step 2. Let's go ahead and move on to step 3. Okay, now let's go ahead and look at step 3, moving a word or a line. So first we're going to ensure that we're in normal mode by pressing the escape key. And I've done that, and we can see that we are in normal mode. And let's go ahead and look at the following commands to move to the word or line. W to move the cursor to the beginning of the next word. So in this case, I'm in the middle of line, and if I hit W, it takes me to the one following line. If I look at the next command, B, to move the cursor to the beginning of the previous word, I can hit the B key and notice how it takes me to the beginning of that word. 0 moves the cursor to the beginning of the current line. So let's check that out. I'll hit 0 and it moves us. And $ moves us to the end of the current line. Pretty cool. So now if I want to move the cursor to the first line of the file, I can hit GG. And not only does it move me to the first line of the file, but the first character of the first line. And if I want to move the cursor to the last line of the file, I can hit the uppercase G and notice how it takes me to the end. So very, very short, terse, efficient commands. And that's what the Vim editor is. And it allows you to get very efficient with your editing. And so if you use this every day and you're a programmer or sysadmin, you can get very efficient with this, and it's a very convenient editor to use instead of an editor where you have to use a lot of mouse commands, particularly if you do things that are repetitive. So step 3 of this, of the last part of step 3 here, is to practice moving the cursor around by trying these commands out on your own. And let's go ahead and move on to our next step. Okay, in step 4, we're going to look at how you can scroll the view. So the first part of this is to ensure you're in normal mode by hitting the escape key. And we're going to look at these following commands to scroll through the view. I'm going to work these kind of from the bottom up. So if we hit Control F, so we'll go ahead and hit Control F, it will scroll one screen down. If we look at Control B, then the next one up the list, then it'll scroll one screen up. If we hit Control D, it'll scroll half screen down. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. There we go. And if we want to scroll then up a half screen, we can hit Control U. So very easy to scroll around and jump to different parts of the file. So this is scrolling through the view. The last part of this is go ahead, add some more data. When you work through this lab, go ahead and add some more data to it because you won't be able to practice scrolling on a very short file. So go ahead and copy and paste. Go into insert mode, paste in some more data into this file. It doesn't really matter what the data is. And then you can practice using these, scrolling the view using the Vim scroll commands. So that's it for step 4. Let's go ahead and move on to step 5. Okay, in step 5, we're going to look at how to jump to specific locations. So again, we're going to ensure that we're in normal mode here by hitting the escape key. And if we hit the H, it's going to move the cursor to the top line of the screen. So we'll go ahead and do that, and it's done that. So if I use the M, it's going to go to the middle of the screen. And if I hit uppercase L, it's going to move the cursor to the bottom of the screen. And if you want to move the cursor to a particular line number, you can enter colon and then the line number. So this will move us up to line 10 within the file. And notice the indicator at the bottom of the screen tells us that we're on line 10, position 1. So you can always tell where you are, and I'll go ahead and move the arrow key, and notice how that position indicator will change based on where you are in the file. So in a lot of computer science data files, things that are being read by computer programs, the spacing is generally very important. So that's one aspect of the Vim editor, is you can look to see what's at a particular line location and column location to help troubleshoot something. So go ahead and practice jumping to specific locations using these commands, and you can also use the search command to jump to a specific location as well. And we're going to look at searching more a little bit later on in the lab. So go ahead and practice the search command as well here, that you can look for a desired piece of text by using the slash key. So go ahead and practice those, and let's go ahead and move to our conclusion and wrap this demonstration up. Congratulations, you've successfully completed the lab on basic navigation in the Vim editor. You've learned the essential commands for moving the cursor, moving the word or line, scrolling the view, and jumping to specific locations within the file. So really, the advice is to go ahead and jump into the file, go ahead and work through this lab. The only way you're really going to get to learn to use the Vim editor is through a little practice. It's a little bit unintuitive when you first start using this, but when you get used to the commands, you really can be very efficient at editing files, particularly large files and files that need to be specifically laid out for data processing applications. So let's go ahead and wrap this lesson up. In summary, editing text effectively is essential for productive and efficient work in Vim. So Vim commands are designed to be very efficient, but you do have to practice them. So you can practice this certainly on your own computer if you've installed Vim, or you can work through the instructions on the Destin Learning Lab site, where the instructions are right next to the Vim editor. You can also customize these commands, and we're going to look at that in future lessons here, so that you can be even more efficient with your editing. Well, that's it for this lesson. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye-bye.